Hey guys, Everseen here. I've been farming Ritual now for a while in SSF, probably about a week, trying to get my Ingenuity belt for my Ice Strike Invoker. I actually did just drop it yesterday, and I got it up to 74%, and now I'm just probably going to farm a second belt and then try and val it, or a third and a fourth, however many it kind of takes. But I wanted to make a quick video about how I've been able to progress with the mechanic, and some of my findings or hunches about the mechanic. And I want to be clear by saying this, I do not know 100% for sure if my takes on these mechanics are completely correct. I'm going based on previous knowledge about Path of Exile 1 Ritual, as well as how the mechanics feel while playing them in PoE2. By all means, leave a comment if you disagree with any of my takes, and we can have a discussion about it, because the goal here is to become more familiar with the mechanic by using multiple ideologies and multiple experiences. I've watched some ritual videos about the classic Packsize and stacked towers, etc., but I wanted to touch more on how the actual altar mechanic works as well as those things. So the first thing is going to be how altars perform and their mechanics. Monsters that spawn inside ritual circles upon death will show red circles or blood pools on the ground approaching the center. Sometimes though, ritual altars are spawned in a way that terrain will cut off a section of a complete circle. My hunch is that when this happens and enemies are supposed to spawn there, the ritual altar will spawn them just outside the circle, so make sure when you're clearing rituals to clear just outside the circle as well. If you go to clear a ritual altar and leave any monsters behind that are original, they will teleport into the circle. They also don't seem to give tribute unless you have killed them initially before starting the encounter, so make sure that you kill all the monsters around and inside the circle before you start the encounter. But yes, sometimes when you kill monsters just outside the circle, you will see the red dots or blood pools gravitating towards the altar. One common misconception is that you can kite monsters into a circle to have them be part of the altar, and this is completely false, and I just want to make sure that a lot of people are aware of this information, because typically in new players, they tend to think that you can kite monsters into the rituals. This works the exact same way as it did in Path of Exile 1, only the monsters that naturally spawn with the ritual altar can be slain and count towards the encounter. A lot of the time when people are thinking this is true is because of the previous example I just gave. Seeing monsters outside the circle that contribute to the altar can be a misleading piece of information. Only monsters that spawn naturally within the circle will be in the ritual encounter, with the exception of the terrain pushing monsters outside the limit. For my next topic, I want to go over basic mechanics and also league mechanics that can influence a ritual. From my testing, I have found that shrines, essences, and strongboxes will count towards the monster count in the ritual. If there's one of these mechanics nearby or within the circle, do it before starting the ritual encounter, because it may actually count. Now, for actual league mechanics, I have found that delirium will spawn within a ritual. Delirium is actually really beneficial to add more monsters and pack size without using the mirror, and I just used distilled guilt, for instance, that can give you additional pack size. It's up to you how difficult you want your map, but for testing purposes, I only used one guilt here for an additional 8% increased pack size. I'm not too fond of using just the regular delirium encounter or the mirror, because it often just disappears way too quickly. I've tested doing a ritual while within a breach circle that's active, and I can comfortably say that breach doesn't add any monsters to the ritual. I mean, they're technically monsters in another dimension, so I kind of did expect this. For expedition, I didn't get lucky enough to spawn an expedition within a ritual, so this remains unknown for me. As for beyond, I believe that if you are within a circle and happen to spawn beyond monsters, they will count towards the ritual. Now, when clearing ritual altars, personally, I try to start with the altar that has the most mob density in it first. Now, I don't usually backtrack to every ritual altar after clearing, but if you get an altar that's placed in a terrible little room or something with 6 monsters in it, you probably want to leave that as the last altar you start fighting. This is because the monsters you've killed in the previous altars will respawn in the consecutive rituals, giving you overall more tribute. Now, another topic of discussion that I would like some feedback on personally is that when clearing altars, have you guys found that even if you kill a rare monster prior to starting a ritual that naturally spawned at the ritual, you're not guaranteed to see that same monster as a rare again? Now, to be honest, I've been killing mobs far too quickly to really notice a significant difference, but there are 2 possible outcomes to this in my mind. Number 1 is that, say for instance we had 3 ritual altars and we fully cleared all of them in our map, and 1 out of the 3 had a rare monster in it, so we start this altar first. What would happen is that rare monster would respawn in the encounter as a rare monster and also in the other 2 ritual altars. If this is the case, it would be like PoE1, where basically whenever you would see a ritual in Path of Exile 1 with a rare or unique monster, you would kill that ritual first and do that encounter, and then every consecutive ritual would actually have those monsters in it as well. Now, number 2 scenario is that this doesn't actually influence anything, and my reasoning behind this is because there is a mod on a ritual precursor tablet that states revived monsters from ritual altars in your maps have a % chance to be magic or rare. This leads me to believe that every monster gets a chance to become either a normal, magic, or rare monster when you start an altar. Now, if this is the case, wouldn't scaling things like increased number of magic and increased number of rare monsters matter a lot? I'll show an example of a map where I got over 6,000 tribute, and this I believed was due to a few factors. I have my atlas tailored towards Packsize and boosting magic rare monsters, explicit modifiers, and the map I ran had a good amount of increased chance of both magic rare monsters as well as Packsize. I also had the 2 additional packs from the atlas, so my altars had a lot of monsters in them. Now let's talk about scaling pack size through the atlas, maps, and precursor tablets. So ritual tablets are pretty hard to get right now, way harder than other mechanics, so we need to make them worthwhile. Now you could do the strategy to clear all bad maps in an area, so that when you use the precursor tablets, you will already have completed these maps so the ritual can't spawn on that map. Personally, I'm way too lazy for that type of min-max. I simply just stack 3 to 4 towers and just go. I would use an atlas similar to mine where I'm going for pack size, increased effective precursor tablets, and increased effective explicit modifiers on Waystones. When you increase the explicits, this means that all the pack size modifiers will get scaled by a %, which helps us greatly. Now be careful because this will scale the modifiers that are also extra damage, more ailment threshold, things like that, so just be careful. Now for me personally, when I was rolling my maps, I went for increased pack size, increased rare magic monsters, increased magic pack size, increased number of packs, and then also the additional packs like the Bramble ones or the Transcended packs. As well, I was rolling all of my Waystones with 6 modifiers so that I could take advantage of Grueling Journey on the Atlas passive tree, which gives you 2% increased effective explicit modifiers on your Waystones for each explicit modifier, which means if we have 6, we have 12% increased effect, which is really good. Another modifier that can significantly boost your rituals is X amount of packs of X monsters on your Waystones. For example, I have a map here with additional Bramble monster packs. It had 21. Now, I'm clearing the rituals much too fast to be able to see all that well, but if we slow down the footage, I intentionally tried to highlight monster names throughout killing the monsters in the ritual encounters, and more often than not, I saw Bramble before the name. This indicates to me that adding packs to your maps will essentially count as natural spawns. Here's another example of Transcended packs, which are generally the monsters before each act boss like Ferrodin soldiers, and also the Val monsters before Doriani. Here you can see that Ferrodin and Val monsters are part of this ritual. For precursor tablets, you pretty much won't sustain at first. This is also why I say to guarantee 2 additional packs and rituals through the Atlas, because it gives you way more chance to drop a ritual tablet. Ritual tablets can only drop for monsters that originally spawned within that ritual. Try to overlap 3 to 4 towers for your ritual maps, because the benefits can save you a lot of tribute while re-rolling or deferring rewards. Even if you can't fully sustain tablets, make sure you use regular precursor tablets with increased pack size, or use other mechanics as well with increased pack size, magic monsters, rare monsters. Maximizing pack size is your number 1 concern while farming ritual, alongside rare and magic monsters. Alright, so I figured I'd jump into game and show you guys sort of my 30 points Atlas tree right now that I'm currently using. Basically, you could optimize this even better. Things that you could change are just getting more number of monster packs in your maps, like these small nodes. You could go for more pack size over here. You could also grab more magic pack size. Like, there's a lot of things you could do, but this is kind of what I decided to grab that made sense to me, because I wanted a few key components here that I'm going to go over. So this is pretty much just to maximize the amount of ritual tribute that I'm going to get. This is not to maximize rewards or currency or any sort of currency farming strat. This is basically just to get the most out of ritual that I possibly can. So with that being said, I go for magic monsters, I go for rare monsters, and then I go for twin threats for 1 rare monster in your map is duplicated. I just like this overall, so I always take it. Really good. And then here we're going for number of monster packs, which is good. And then we're going for quantity of precursor tablets. And I really invested fully into precursor tablets because I think that they're very, very good. And the explicit modifiers getting scaled are really good for, you know, just stacking with the double effect. So basically, if I have, say, you get 7% increased tribute from one ritual precursor tablet. Basically, I'm getting, increased effect of the explicit, and then I can also have a chance to double it. So it could go upwards to 20%, say 30%. So you're just getting a lot more increased tribute. And then I also have this one for 3% increased effect of explicit modifiers on your maps for each precursor tower affecting map area. So this is why I do like 3 to 4 towers, maybe 5 to 6 if I'm really lucky in an area, but it's kind of hard to get them to overlap that much when you have that many. But yeah, you're just getting more effect of your modifiers. So this is going to scale all the magic pack size, the magic monsters, rare monsters, also the regular pack size. So this really helps. And then I decided to curl all the way over because I wanted more pack size here. I don't really care about this, really. I'm kind of just not taking that. I could refund 1 point as well to go into unstable energies because it does give you more effect, so it is really good. And if you hit 25% more effect on your prefixes, it is a really good boost, so I could recommend definitely taking this node. I just don't have it allocated right now. But yeah, basically I'm going down. I'm taking increased explicit effect of modifiers on Waystones. Cool. I've got a little bit of quantum rarity, which doesn't matter, but like for the strategy that I'm currently doing. But I took them anyway just to get down to more increased explicit and then grueling journey. So this is actually really good because you get 2% increased effect of explicit modifiers on your maps for each explicit modifier. So basically, I'm trying to do 6 mod maps. I'm not really valing maps right now. I just don't really care, and I don't want to brick my maps. So when I have the magic pack size and all the magic and rare monsters and stuff, I don't really want to brick them. So I've just been keeping them 6 modded, but it gives me 12% increased effective explicits, which obviously once we start scaling, 15, 18, 21, 24, we're getting like a ton of increased explicit modifiers from all these different avenues. So basically we're getting like upwards of like maybe even 30 to 40% increased effect, which is really good, especially for Waystone drop chance too. That gets scaled up crazy. So all in all, like I've found really good success in this. One thing that you could do is really just take out one of these increased effective precursor tablets and then maybe shove it into unstable energies for just more effect of modifiers. Yeah, it's really up to you what you want to do. All right, so I figured, we got to go over the Ritual Alice passives, right? So these ones, I'm going to show sort of the order and the reasoning why I took them and the reasoning why I wouldn't take the other points. But basically, the first points that I took was Tempting Offers because this gives you just more chances to see the audience with the king. So I just went for this, especially with only 2 points available. This is like super, super good to have. And then on my second points, I actually went for From the Mists after I actually took Spreading Darkness first, because getting 4 ritual altars definitely gives you more tribute. Getting the 4th altar, it gives you a little bit more tribute, but there is also a penalty. Like every time you do a ritual altar, the monsters that you slay will actually have a penalty to the amount of tribute they give you. So having 4 is kind of like irrelevant, and most of the time on a map you get 4 anyway, so it's like might as well guarantee the 2 additional packs because these are considered natural spawning packs, which will also help you drop ritual precursor tablets. So this is like infinitely the best node on this entire tree, in my opinion, because of how rare those precursor tablets are. And then I went for the classic 3rd and 4th set of points to get more omens, and then also to get more audience with the king. The Wildwood Wisp thing is very bait. It's very stupid. Having to follow a wisp around a ritual while you're trying to kill everything and probably can't even see it that well. I haven't even tested it, but in Path of Exile 1, when we had something similar, it was complete garbage, so I just completely vetoed this from my mind completely. This node is actually interesting, Reinvigorated Sacrifices. I don't really want to scale the difficulty of my altars, especially with Promised Devotion, where you get deal 25% increased damage. And then this one's 20% increased toughness. If you have a really, really good build, you could opt for these 2 points instead of something else. I don't really know what you would drop. Maybe He Approaches, but like you want to see audience with the king. That's really like the chase item, so I don't see why you'd want to bother. But like, yeah, this is really good for getting revived monsters from rituals in your maps have no penalty to tribute gained. Is pretty crazy. Tribute granted, I guess, but that's insane. Like, you'd probably get so much more tribute just having these 2 points. But if you have more tribute and you can only re-roll a certain amount of times, and really you're going for audience with the king, like, do you really care about this that much? Maybe once they buff the omen drops, we might want to take this because then we're guaranteed to get a lot more tribute so that we can buy multiple omens in a single window, or in a single ritual encounter. But yeah, this one is like, sure, costs 50% reduced tribute. You could also say that this one might be a really good one to do, but it's more damage, and the deferred stuff, like deferring and stuff like with ritual, is so cheap that I just think it's completely irrelevant. So yeah, the only two avenues I see of switching are like the 4 altars and then also reinvigorated sacrifices. These 2 clusters of points are still interesting to me. These other 2 are pretty much irrelevant, but this is my current tree and what I've found to kind of be successful for me. That's about all I wanted to go over today without rambling for 2 hours about the subject. Test things out, see what works for you, but this has given me consistent returns with the amount of tribute I can generate with my maps, increased pack size, magic rare monsters, and adding additional packs to the map through the Atlas passives as well as the Waystone modifier have given me great results. Anyway, that's all for now, guys. Cheers, bye.